Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Honorable Cory Garnder, U.S. Representative.
To Butte in Montana singing, Lord, I was born a rambling man.
Well, good afternoon, CPAC. You've had a great day. Well, thank you very much to ACU. Greg, Al, thank you so much for having us here today. It's an incredible opportunity for so many people in the West to have exposure to some of the great ideas that are leading our country back from the past 4 years. I don't know if you had a chance to see some of the incredible tweets, some of the incredible Facebook posts that were placed over the past couple nights. One of my favorite that I saw last night after the debate was, what was that big thump in the middle of the debate besides David Axelrod fainting? My tweet was something to the effect of, Clint Eastwood's empty chair could have done a better job last night. I am Cory Garnder, representing Colorado's 4th Congressional District. And you have to wonder a little bit whether or not the president's performance last night was as a result of Joe Biden's admission that the middle class has been buried over the past 4 years. At least the president finally found a shovel-ready project. Today, not unlike our founders, though, we gather to exercise our democratic rights, our constitutional obligations, and our civic responsibilities. We gather to celebrate freedom and the freedom of our Constitution. The challenges that our nation faces reminds us all of other historic times throughout our nation's great history. Over 200 years ago, a ragtag group of soldiers gathered on the banks of the Delaware River. It was Christmas night and bitter cold. The year was 1776, and up to this point, the battle for American independence, it really wasn't going that well. New York had been taken, Manhattan had been conquered, enlistments were expiring, supplies were low, and morale was even lower. But in the days leading up to that fateful night, Thomas Paine had penned an essay entitled Common Sense. These are the times that try men's souls. The summer soldier and sunshine patriot will, in this crisis, shrink from the service of his country. But he that stands it now deserves the love and thanks of man and woman. And on that cold December night, the Continental Army advanced across the river and won. And so today, not like that night 200 years ago, we stand on the dark and icy waters, the banks of uncertain economic times, mounting debt crisis, unstable leadership around the world. We are indeed standing on the bank of a new American crisis. Our debt stands at $16 trillion. Discretionary spending is booming. Entitlement spending is rising, and employment is suffering. Bailouts, handouts, and cop-outs litter the economic path of a country that once embodied the virtues of liberty and the free market. And government grows, dependency grows, and so too grows the longing of a nation desperate for leadership. And so we stand before the election of 2012, asking a simple question: what kind of a nation shall we become? A nation that continues with the long, lonely march toward the United States of entitlement, or the nation of Lincoln that preserves this, the last best hope of man on earth? We in this room know that there really is no choice. We are the United States of America, a nation battle-born, carried forward from generation to generation by tireless works of great patriots, and the rights that were granted to us by our Creator. And we will not fail in our fight, and we will not falter in our fight, because we believe that we can and we will rebuild America. It is not our duty, it is not our goal to remake America or redefine America, but to indeed rebuild it, to reawaken America, to reawaken the American spirit, the spirit that drives each and every one of us. Paul Ryan often talks of a choice of two futures, and Mitt Romney talks about a choice of two countries. This election, November 6th, is truly simply that, a choice that won't define this country for the next 4 years, but a choice that will define this country for the next 4 generations. In Obama's America, if we continue with that, the president and his liberal allies will continue to wish to portray free enterprise as out of fashion. In Obama's America, society will no longer encourage people to rise up and achieve, but instead take from those who have succeeded. In Obama's America, government has forgotten that Constitution is a red light limiting power, not a green light giving all power to government. But the worst thing about Obama's America is that we're even talking about it in these terms. Because the term implies division. The term implies that we are not the United States, but instead the divided states. And indeed, our message to the president must be, this is the United States, this is our America, not the 99%, but the 100%. A nation that was founded on the principles that government doesn't guarantee success, but the opportunity to succeed. You know, last year we celebrated Ronald Reagan's 100th birthday. And for those of you who remember that birthday, you remember the celebrations, the people lining up around the streets, the people paying homage to the president as he lay in state in the rotunda. Several months ago, I picked up a book about President Reagan, the life, covering his time with an alcoholic father, his time as an actor, his time at GE. And as I was reading through that book, I was on the airplane and I realized that I had a tear in my eye. And it was a tear in my eye because I was thinking about the fact that what will happen to the legacy of Ronald Reagan? Will it be seen as that bright flash of light at the dusk of American history? Or will his legacy be the brighter dawn that builds to a brighter future for this nation? We know what our obligation is. Our better days are always ahead of us. And in Ronald Reagan's final letter to the American people, he said this: "In closing, let me thank you, the American people, for giving me the great honor of allowing me to serve as your president. When the Lord calls me home, whenever that may be, I will leave with the greatest love for this country of ours and eternal optimism for its future. I now begin the journey that will lead me into the sunset of my life. I know that for America, there will always be a bright dawn ahead." In the chamber below the House of Representatives, painted on the walls are statements made by the great patriots of our time. And as I was leaving the House of Representatives one evening, I heard voices of a Capitol tour guide down below. And I turned the corner, and there in front of me was the Capitol tour guide reading the statement, the caption on the wall. And there with him was a young soldier, now confined to a wheelchair, reading this caption: "Ours is a nation conceived in freedom, purchased with blood, that can only be preserved with constant vigilance." We are here today because we know that constant vigilance is not easy. And this election, we will exercise our rights as free people to choose the direction for our nation that we know is the only way for our children, our grandchildren, and indeed, a free world. God bless you. God bless the United States. And thank you for being here. Thank you.